Good evening. Welcome to the Mind of STEM channel, where you get your daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. My name is Leon Jones, and I hope everybody has had a wonderful and gracious day and evening and a good night. Now, in this video, I am going to get into the flow of food. So the title of tonight's video is The Flow of Food. Now, why is that very important? How food flows? Well, again, if your food is coming from the refrigerator to the sink to wash, then you have to cook it, and then you serve it. Well, here's what's happening. Your food is changing hands. And it could be just your hands, but hands have different things that happen to them. They get dirty. You go to the bathroom. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is the flow of food. Let me share my screen. Now, the information that you are getting comes from Serve Safe. Serve Safe is one of the corporations that gives the certification exam for managers and food handlers. So in this video, again, I'm going to talk about the flow of food. Now, the objectives of this video talk about ways of preventing cross-contamination, ways of preventing time temperature abuse, different types of temperature measuring devices and their uses, also how to calibrate thermometers. And then there are going to be general outlines or guidelines for thermometer use. Now, when we deal with the flow of food, what I'm talking about is the path that food takes through your operation. As you see here in the upper right-hand corner, you see how food is flowing through the operation. Each item is part of a system, just like a supply management system or conveyor belt. Now, to keep food safe throughout the flow of food is, number one, you have to prevent cross-contamination. Number two, prevent time temperature abuse. Now, when we talk about cross-contamination, what you have to do is use separate equipment. And you use it when you have raw and ready-to-eat food. Now, separate equipment can come in varieties like different surfaces, cutting boards. And what you have to do to make sure you don't cross-contaminate any food is you have to clean and sanitize. And you do it for all work surfaces, equipment, and utensils before each task. Now, the object is the prevention of cross-contamination. So what you do when you have prep tasks, like when you prep raw and ready to eat food at different times, well, if you're going to use the same prep table, then prep raw meat, fish, and poultry at a different time than ready to eat food. Why? Because ready to eat food is already open, it's ready to go. But when you deal with raw meat, you could have the risk of E. coli, salmonella, because of the juices that are coming from the raw meat. When possible, prep ready to eat food before raw food. That's how the process should work. It makes good sense. Again, when we're prepping raw and ready to eat foods at different times, what we're doing, we're basically separating raw meat, poultry, and seafood from unwashed and ready to eat fruits and vegetables. And if you can, buy prepared food. let me break it down. You buy items, let's say food items like shredded lettuce that don't require much prepping or handling. We get into TTC, time temperature control. Now there's a danger zone. It used to be 45 degrees to 140 degrees. Well, now food held in a range of 41 degrees and 135 degrees Fahrenheit, or 5 degrees Celsius and 57 degrees Celsius, has been time temperature abused. That means the food is now part of the danger zone, and usually food grows the quickest between 70 and 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So food is being temperature abused when it is handled in the following ways: cooked to the wrong internal temperature, held at the wrong temperature, cooked or reheated incorrectly. Now, to avoid time temperature abuse, here are 5 tasks that you need to do. You monitor time and temperature. You make sure that the correct kinds of thermometers are available. Also, regularly record temperatures and the times they're taking. Again, temperature recording is very important because that's an area that's used for verification. So you must record temperatures and the times regularly. Also, you minimize the time that food spends in the temperature danger zone, and then take corrective actions if time temperature standards are not met. Again, when we monitor time and temperature, we have 2 types of thermometers. Now, the first one is the bimetallic stem thermometer. Now, what that does is measures temperature through a metal stem. And it also has a sensing area from the tip to the dimple. So the entire sensing area must be inserted into the food. And to adjust it for calibration, it has a calibration nut to keep the thermometer accurate. Then you have thermocouples and thermistors. And what they do is measure temperature through a metal probe. They also display temperatures digitally. They also have a sensing area on the tip of their probe. And they come with interchangeable probes. There's your immersion probe, your surface probe, your penetration probe, and your air probe. Then there are what we call infrared or laser thermometers. Now they're used to measure the surface temperature of food and equipment. So what you do with these thermometers, you hold as close to the food or equipment as possible to get a temperature reading. Remove anything, this is important. Remove anything between the thermometer and the food package or equipment. And then lastly, you follow the manufacturer's guidelines. Then there's also what we call a maximum registering thermometer. And what that does is it indicates the highest temperature reached during use. It's used where temperature readings cannot be continuously observed. You have your TTI, which stands for time temperature indicators. So what they do is they monitor both time and temperature. There are attached to packages by the supplier, and a color change appears on the device when the time temperature abuse has occurred. Now, how to calibrate thermometers? Well, first of all, the purpose of calibrating any type of thermometer is to adjust a thermometer to get a correct or accurate reading. Now, there are 2 methods. There's the ice point method and the boiling point method. Now, again, for the boiling point method, you bring tap water to a boil in a deep pan, and you put the thermometer stem or probe into the water. Then you adjust the thermometer so it reads 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius, or the boiling point of your elevation. Now, 212 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature at which water will boil. Now for the ice point method, what you do is fill a large container with ice and add tap water. And you submerge the sensing area and wait 30 seconds. Then you adjust the thermometer so it reads 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, you adjust the thermometer so it reads 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And for you all who love the Celsius scale, that is 0 degrees Celsius. Now, when it comes to guidelines, general thermometer guidelines. When using thermometers, always wash, rinse, sanitize, and air dry thermometers before and after using them. Calibrate them at these times: after they have been bumped or dropped, after they have been exposed to extreme temperature changes, before deliveries arrive, again, before deliveries arrive, and before each shift. Again, when using thermometers, make sure they are accurate. So if used to check food, thermometers must be accurate to plus or minus 2 degrees Fahrenheit or plus or minus 1 degree Celsius. If used to check air temperature, thermometers must be accurate to plus or minus 3 degrees Fahrenheit or plus or minus 1.5 degrees Celsius. Only use glass thermometers if they're enclosed in shatterproof casing. You also insert the thermometer stem or probe into the thickest part of the food. Take more than one reading in different spots. Again, take more than one reading in different spots. Lastly, you wait for the thermometer reading to steady. And again, that concludes this topic of, again, we have talked about the flow of food. Again, the flow of food is very important because, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find out ways of preventing cross-contamination, ways of preventing time temperature abuse, and of course, different types of temperature measuring devices and their uses that comes into effect. We're also going to deal with, or we dealt with, calibration of thermometers, and I gave you general guidelines for thermometer use. And once again, I hope you enjoyed this commentary of the flow of food. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some hard-hitting political content, check out the 411 Talk Zone radio show. You can also check out a Blog Talk radio show as well. Now, if you cannot find me on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, when it comes to the Mind of STEM channel, you can check me out on Twitter and LinkedIn. And for the 411 Talk Zone radio show, you can check me out on Twitter, MeWe, and Parler. I have those platforms set up because all my political content goes to MeWe and Parler, and anything that deals with professional content, it goes to LinkedIn. And again, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to the Mind of STEM channel, where you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Once again, thank you for listening and viewing this channel, this topic on the flow of food. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening.